Hello everyone, this is Dr. Navjot. In today's lecture, we will talk about the communication modes which are available to us in the computer networks. So, when you talk about the communication modes in the computer networks, I hope you all are aware what is a communication mode. So, communication mode is a method with which there are two devices, for example, mainframe and monitor here. If with the help of this communication mode, you will get to know how these two devices exchange the data with one another. So basically, it is all about the direction of data flow, like in which particular direction the data is going. When you talk about the communication modes, we have got three methods available for us. First one is called as the simplex mode of communication. Second one is called as the half duplex method. And the third one is called as the full duplex method for transferring the data. So there are three different ways with which you can transfer the data. And in all these three different methods, the direction of flow will be different. Now let's talk in details that how does these three different methods work and what are the real life examples associated with it. So in the first mode of communication that is called as the simplex communication mode, the flow of data is always in one direction. Let's assume that there is a sender named as A, there is another receiver named as B. So in this simplex mode of communication, the information can only be communicated in one direction. So the flow of data is always unidirectional. Unidirectional means it can flow only in one direction. Either it can go from A to B. If it is going from A to B, it will always flow in that particular direction. There is always just one single sender, and the other person will always act as the receiver. There is no way out with which this receiver can send some data back to the sender. What is the real life example for it? We'll talk about it in the last slide. Now, moving forward, now let's see how does the second mode of communication work. The second mode of communication that is available to us is called as the half duplex mode of communication. Is the direction of data may be from device B to A. So in this case, in half duplex communication mode, both connected devices can transmit as well as receive, but they cannot do it simultaneously. They cannot do it parallelly. However, they can do once the communication from one device is over, then the second device may start sending the data to the other devices. Now, moving forward, now let's talk about how does the full duplex mode of communication work. In the full duplex mode of communication, as you can see here, that again we have got two devices A and B. In this case, the flow of the data is bidirectional, which is same as that of what we had in the previous case of half duplex communication. But the difference in these two is that in full duplex mode of communication, both these devices can send as well as receive the data. At same point of time, device will be acting as the sender as well as a receiver. Same is the case with device B, where device B can act as the sender as well as the receiver. So the previous case which we had in the half duplex mode, I hope you are aware that either A was able to receive the data or send it. But there is no such constraint when you talk about the full duplex mode of communication. So all the devices can send as well as receive the data at same point of a time. Now, let's see what are the real life examples for these different modes. First example here you can see is this for the simplex mode of communication. In the simplex mode of communication, the flow of data is always one way. So it means there is one device, there is another device. Either the device can uh, send the data from sender to receiver. The other type of communication is not possible. The best example for that is your TV set. all the broadcast which is being done by the TV station to our TV sets is always in one direction. If the TV station is sending or broadcasting something, it will be received by our TV sets that will be displayed on the screens. However, there is no way out with which TV can respond back to this TV station. So this is the example for the simplex mode of communication. Same is the case with the keyboard. When you are working on a keyboard, by now, I hope you all are aware, all the keyboards which are connected with the CPU, you can send the data from the keyboard to the monitor to the CPU, which further will reflect that on the monitor of your computer or on the laptop. So keyboard will never be able to receive any data back from the CPU. That is the example for your simplex mode of communication. Second is your half duplex mode of communication. The communication can be two ways, but it is always one at a time. Either you can act as a sender or you can act as a receiver. The best example for that you might have seen in the multiple movies, you might have used the walkie-talkies also. When you have a walkie-talkie available to you, you know, the communication mode that is used by those walkie-talkie is bidirectional, means both the parties, senders and receiver, they can receive as well as send the data. However, after data is sent from sender to receiver, the sender will say over, and in response to that, on the same channel, the receiver who is now acting as the sender will send the data back to the sender. So walkie-talkie is the best example for that. Next, we have full duplex mode of communication. Full duplex mode of communication is the bidirectional communication, that is one of the most widely used communication modes nowadays. So most of the communication calls which are happening over the phone, over the mobile networks, or whether it is the Zoom calls. In this case, the sender as well as receiver, they can communicate with one another at same point of a time. There is no such restriction where the sender or the receiver has to wait to send or receive the data. The communication between these two devices is happening parallelly. It is happening simultaneously, because nowadays the technology is so advanced, we need not to wait for the other person to stop sending the data. So this is the best example that we use for nowadays for doing the communication. I hope by now you are aware that how the different communication modes work. For any of your queries or requests, you can send your comments. I'll try to reply back via comments itself. Thank you so much for watching, and do like, comment and subscribe to my channel. Have a nice day.